This is Troy with Big Water UAV Solutions, and I've had such a blast and I'm so happy with this iFlight Nazgul Evoque F5D that I decided to go ahead and purchase another bind and fly from iFlight, and I purchased the Nazgul Evoque F6D. That's going to be my medium to long range quad, more for the cinematic flying. And so it's a bind and fly. We're going to go ahead and bind it today. We're going to fly it soon. We can't fly today because we have 30-mile-an-hour winds. So I did get the 6S version. We're going to go ahead and set that up and bind it and put it together and show you how that comes in the kit and go from there. Okay, well, let's take a look at the iFlight Nazgul Evoque F6D. I ordered the dead cat version again. I've already unboxed this, so this is not a true unboxing video, but we'll go ahead and take a look what came in the box. You've got your props, 2 sets. These are the HQ props, 6x2, 5x3 polycarbonate props. You've got your hardware, your battery straps, and your antennas and battery pad in here. This is the 6S version, and there she is. The Evoque Nazgul iFlight Nazgul Evoque F6D for dead cat, and you can see that it's a dead cat. You can take a look at it there. It's not a true X frame. True X frame, the arms would be a little further out, and then of course the props would be in view of your camera. This comes with the Caddx Vista. So there's just a little card here where you're able to open the manual. USB cable for connecting the quad to bind the Caddx unit and configure the flight controller if needed. A little card here showing how to set up GPS rescue mode. That is the GPS unit right here. Same one I've got on the F5D. I have not played with the GPS rescue mode. I intend to set that up this spring and summer. And then you have your instructions for how to set up your props, your propeller directions. And again, this quad is set up as props out. And that means the props spin away from the center line. If you're looking down on the quad. So this prop here will spin clockwise, this prop here counterclockwise, counterclockwise here, and clockwise here. Spins away from the center line, that's props out. Props in would be the opposite and spin in towards the center line. You've got a little card here talking about some safe flights and how to do that, some steps to safe flying, for safe flying. You have your iFlight stickers. Always like stickers. Haven't stuck any, but I like the stickers. And then you have your camera mount here, which will go on this 3D printed camera mount. And then again, then there is a, looks like for your antenna cable, a little bit of a shrink wrap if necessary. So that is what we've got in the case. So we are going to go ahead and set this up. We have a little warning thing here stating that be careful when changing parameters because it's a pre-tuned quad. And I believe this will be set up in angle mode only, which we'll have to configure in Betaflight. we'll have to change that. Again, the Caddx Vista camera. And so this is where you bind the crossfire down here. And then your Caddx Vista binding, your link button is right here for your Caddx Vista. And then your flight controller is right there, I do believe, yes. So we'll go ahead and again get started. We'll cut this off here. And we'll take off this peeling here. Yes, this talks about angle mode is set as the default. You can only fly it in angle mode until you actually go into Betaflight and change it. So even though it is bind and fly, you do need to go into Betaflight to change that in your modes tab. So without further ado, we'll go ahead. Excuse me. Go ahead and get the hardware on here. Spare hardware, spare antenna ends for the antennas, I'm guessing. If you put a different type of antenna on, maybe. That's what that's for. Your battery pad, we'll go ahead and put one of those on, keep the other as a spare. And then your extra straps. Now again, this is the 6S version. And one of the first things we want to do is put the antenna on. I thought I saw, here it is. This little thing, 3D printed part, slips over. The antenna mount to make it easy to screw this in without over tightening it. You always want the antenna on before you power up the unit. And then we'll go ahead and put on the strap, put on the battery pad. And that's gonna go right like that. And again, this is going to be my medium to long range cinema type flyer. I do plan on actually building another quad. Of course, I built the Sedora SL5 V2.1. Have yet to fly that as well because of the weather. I am hoping to build another quad possibly later this spring. Perhaps a 7-inch, although I may do a sub 250, a smaller one as well. So this is again a 6S version. I've got the 6S full send iFlight batteries, a 6S 1550 milliamp hour battery. This is my first go with a 6S. So I've heard there's quite a difference between 4S and 6S, and am looking forward to finding that out. We'll go ahead and stick this through here. That is a big battery. That is a big honking battery. So we're ready to bind this. And so if you look here, so I'm not holding this upside down, your flight controller dust cover is right here. Your air unit or your Caddx Vista is right here, and then your link button is right here to link that. Your crossfire, which will bind first, is underneath here. There's a little sticker here you need to peel away. And it sits down in here, and we'll go ahead when it's time and push this little button here to bind it. I think the way we're going to bind it, there are a couple different ways. You can just bind directly from the Tango 2, or you can actually do it through Agent M. Again, fire up the Tango 2. And we'll go ahead and plug in the USB cable, USB-C, and we will put it into agent mode. We will go ahead and link the USB device. And now we're all linked up, ready to go there. And then we'll be able to put that in bind mode through the software. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and hook up. We charged a 6S battery. We'll go ahead and power that up. And then of course we have our little fan here to keep the Caddx, the Vista cool while we're working on this quad here. I'll go ahead and strap this puppy, strap her in. Start our fan. And we'll go ahead. It already looks like it's in bind mode. The green light is flashing, which should be bind mode. You can see it there. So I think we're going to go ahead over here real quick, and we're going to put the Tango into bind mode. And it already bound. It wants to update the Nano RX. We'll go ahead and confirm. And it is updating the receiver. And it is sitting at 0%. There it goes. It just moved. It went to 3%. So that is in the process of binding. While that's going on, we'll go ahead and we are going to have to connect to the Caddx Vista, I believe, to follow the same process that we did with the DJI Air unit, where we need to authorize it, I guess. Yeah, since it's a Vista unit and uses the DJI protocol, I believe we're going to have to do that. So after we bind this crossfire, we will go ahead and take care of that. We'll go ahead and get our goggles here, so we're ready to go. It says the RX is loading.
Telemetry lost.
That should reboot. Okay, it's a solid red light now. Not sure why that is. So we'll go ahead and back out. Looks like it lost its binding. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this again. We'll push this. We are running 12 channel again, and we want our channel map I'm only showing 8 channels. Let's try that again. There we go. Channel 10. We want LQ. There we go. So the crossfire was a little bit of a goofy thing here to bind. The previous Nazgul, the 5D, I actually bound right through the controller rather than going through Agent M. And maybe that was the hiccup with this, not sure. We'll go ahead and disconnect this, and we will shut down Agent M. And now we'll go ahead and get ready to bind the DJI air unit. Okay, it turns out that actually we have to use a different cable is what happened here. That I wasn't getting full contact with that other cable because of the frame. You can see here on the screen, air unit Lite. Go ahead and click on that. Start activation. Confirm your account. And we've gone through this before in my build video. Yeah, the activation is complete. No survey, no thank you. And it is on 606. Haha. So, how can we downgrade that? It's on 606. It's the new air unit Lite hardware. Okay, so this is going to be interesting what it does with the goggles when we actually go to bind this. So we'll go ahead and disconnect from this because our goggles are running 600. Go ahead and set the fan here. Bring the unit back over here. Keep that cool. I hope they don't force me to try and update these goggles. Which means then I need to upgrade all the air units. So let us go ahead, fire up the goggles. Oh, gosh darn it. My bamboo poker on the ground. We'll go ahead, we'll push the bind button. And we'll go ahead and push the link button here. So apparently your camera can run a little bit different firmware. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. All right. DJI made that very easy. So we are now bound. So our next thing, we're going to go ahead and plug the flight controller in. We'll get set up and plug that into a Betaflight so we can set up the modes on this. So we have modes other than angle mode. Okay, we're back. We're going to go in the flight controller and set up our modes. We're going to set them based up on our model. On this one, we only need the flight controller connected and the Caddx Vista. We do not need we only need the flight controller and the crossfire going, and that can all run off of the USB. We don't need to plug in the battery for this. So we'll go ahead and plug in the flight controller into this port up front. We'll go into Betaflight, hit connect. We'll go into our modes. Since this is a bind and fly, everything's already set up. The motor rotation should all be correct. We may double check that anyways, but in a bind and fly, usually there's no need for that. We can go ahead and, we'll leave the fan going. So you can see here our modes. We only have arm and angle in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up. I've got some screenshots of the way this should be set up. You can't see those, but trust me, they're there. Betaflight screenshots, and I'm going to pull up the Ripper and screenshot 1. Actually, there you can. This is the way it should be set up. How my mode should be set up. So we're just going to identically set those up. We'll go ahead and pull Betaflight back up here. And so our arm should be AUX 1, and it is. And we'll go ahead and push the Tango 2 button, make sure we get our arm. It goes to the right spot. Our angle should be AUX 3. And that should be right there. We don't have horizon mode. We have a beeper. We're going to go ahead and add a range. AUX 3. And we're going to add a link. Let's see, I think we add another range. There we go. And AUX 2. And then these are both set to AND. So both these push buttons must be in, or sorry, these two switches over here must be in once we save this to the controller. I'm sorry, to the flight controller. Okay, so our next step is to bring up our other screenshot. And I'm sorry that brought it up over here, but you can see our other modes that we'll need to switch. Again, back in Betaflight, we want to go to flip over after crash. And that we're going to add a range, and that will be AUX 4. And its range is here at the end. And then pre-arm. We're going to set up a pre-arm. A pre-arm is just another button that you push before you actually arm the quad. It's a safety thing for me. I think it's a good idea to have a pre-arm. We set that up for AUX 5, and that is all the way to the end here. It's the switch is high. So again, all of these switches are set up to different AUX channels, and that's all mapped through the Tango 2. So in other words, AUX 5, which is my pre-arm switch, is mapped to this E button here on the Tango 2. That's how that works. So this is AUX 5, this is AUX 4. So we'll go ahead now and we'll put in an Acro trainer mode. We're going to add a range for Acro trainer, and that is down here, and that is AUX 3. AUX 3 is this switch right over here. Switch C is AUX 3. So you can see, I'm going to flip it now. We're high right now, so we'd actually be in angle mode. Center mode, nothing is made. We're neither in angle or acro trainer, which means we're in full acro. And then if I push it to the top, it's a 3-position switch. We would be in acro trainer mode. So center for me is acro. That's how I have this mapped on the Tango 2. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our last screenshot. No, not our last actually. Receiver, that's receiver. We don't want receiver. Oh, I was looking maybe at the RSSI channel. Excuse me, we'll go ahead and bring up the next screenshot. We may be done actually. Yeah, okay, our rates. We'll go put in our rates, but first of all, let's go back to Betaflight, and we want to save these modes. We should have arm, angle, the beeper, flip over crash, pre-arm, and acro trainer should be all we need. So we're going to go ahead and save the settings. So now, if we flip our two switches here, it should beep. However, I think we need a battery in for that in order for it to beep. So we'll go ahead, let's plug in and see if it beeps. There we go. We'll go ahead and unplug the battery again. Actually, we can see if it arms. Let's see if it arms. So again, my arming, of course, your throttle needs to be down all the way. We can go in the receiver and see that it is. There's my throttle. We already know the RSSI channel should be 6. We're going to go ahead and set that and hit a save. So we should be done in Betaflight, but let's see if she'll arm. So I push my pre-arm switch, and then my actual arm switch is this A. Now the question is, why isn't it arming? Aha, we know why. Actually, we got to go to motors, motor test mode, arming notice. Duh, I understand the risks. Now she will arm. There we go. Actually thought we'd bring you back while we actually throw the props on so you can see how this works with a bind and fly. So again, let's start with motor number 2, which is here. That is going to spin clockwise. So your motor is actually going to have a little arrow on it, typically somewhere, which indicates which way it should spin. This does not. Okay, so the way this works, it's always going to spin. You want your prop to spin. This is your leading edge, your high edge. So this is going to, again, spin clockwise. So you want your leading edge spinning away from the center line. So it's props in is how that works. So that one will go there. The number 4 will spin again, props out. It's going to spin counterclockwise. So we want that to spin the leading edge towards the frame, the inside of the frame, I guess, if you want to call it that, and away from the center line. And then basically on the opposite end, it's the same thing. Motor number 1 is going to spin counterclockwise as well, leading edge towards the frame and away from the center line. So this leading edge should be the same on motors 1 and 4. And then finally motor 3 should match motor 2. And again, this will spin clockwise, the leading edge towards the frame, away from the center line of the quad. That is props out. Some people prefer props in, some people prefer props out. Again, props in, if you're spinning props in towards the center line, you're throwing debris into the camera. If you're doing it props out, away from the center line, you're throwing it into any debris possibly into the stack and the quad, which is why this is such a fantastic quad with the side panels. That eliminates that from happening. Sorry for the camera angle there. Let me go ahead and just move this. Actually should be in it just fine. Okay, we'll leave it there. So we'll go ahead with the prop nuts. Tighten these up. So they make it really easy, bind and fly. You will have to go into Betaflight though. You'll have to learn at least the basics of Betaflight to be able to set up your mode and map your radio switches to what you want for modes. But it's not tight enough here. So this is my F6, Nazgul Evoque F6D for Dead Cat. It has the Zing 2506 1500 kV motors. Looks like 1500 kV motors. Yes, 2506 1500 kV moters. Bind and Fly, a great buy. I think it was $569 with the GPS unit on. Ordered direct from iFlight. Took about a week to get here. This is going to be my long range, medium to long range cinema flyer. What I am going to do, one thing I definitely am going to change is I'm going to change this antenna, this short stubby antenna. I'm going to order a longer antenna for which will give you a little bit better penetration and a longer range. I think I'm going to do that for all the quads, especially the Nazgul Evoque quads, which I use more for cinema. So again, the Nazgul Evoque F6D for Dead Cat. It's a beautiful quad. Can't wait to take it out and fly it, and I'll certainly post the videos on the channel. Thanks for watching this bind and fly setup. I appreciate that. Give us a like, subscribe, and a thumbs up really helps the channel grow. So remember, FPV is not a crime, and the iFlight quads, the bind and fly quads are pretty awesome. They really do a nice job, a nice build. It's almost to me the Range Rover, the Jeep of the quad road. Very versatile quads and well worth the money in my opinion. So thanks for watching. See you again on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.